Remarketing. I love remarketing. The boys in my mastermind group have been taking the piss out of me for about the last 2 years because whenever we talk about something, remarketing, you've got remarketing code. When you only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Remarketing is my hammer. It is, for many businesses, going to be the cheapest way to run ads on GDN. For one client, I won't mention their name, they came to us with a GDN campaign that was running at about $200 a lead, which is more than their average order. So they're clearly burning $100 notes every time they run those ads. Their remarketing ads dropped that CPA to 20. So a 10 times improvement. Now the volume was a little less, but at least they're not burning green notes every time they run an ad. For those of you who has never come across remarketing and is willing to put their hand up and admit that, a few of us, good on you. So it's essentially like building your own list of subscribers. If you could have a list of 50,000 people that have been to your site, they know you, like you, trust you, but they haven't bought from you yet, and you could only advertise to just those people rather than everybody out there on the web, that's remarketing in a nutshell. Why we're going to use it is for a number of reasons, but the main one being tied back to that business objective, better ROI, more profit. And the reason it's at the end of the day is because we've got to understand the analytics, the objectives, and the display network and all of our options in there before we can get into the funky stuff. And by way of explanation, again, at a high level, I want to give you a number of strategies because my feel is that everyone in the room can take at least 2 or 3 of these. I'm going to give you about 8 or 9, I think, in here. So you can grab at least a couple of these and implement these in your business. Again, I'm not going to go deep into the code. You get a little piece of code, you give it to a friendly web geek, and you say, put that code on every page of my site. And then we have to build lists. And depending on the strategy that you use, you're going to build different types of list. So let's walk through the strategies first. The easy one is everyone. So who doesn't understand if I'm saying cookies? You're all pretty happy with that. I'm going to cookie everyone that comes to my website on any page of my website. I'm going to stick them on one big remarketing list. So the vocabulary here is audiences and lists. I build one big list. Now, you don't get to see any information about the people on that list. All you know is that Google says you've got 30,000 people on this list. So on my everyone list, I might have 50,000 people. The only control I get there is the length of time, it's called the visitor duration. So I might have a 30-day list. So it's everybody that came to my site in the last 30 days, and I got 50,000 people on that list. So that's my 30-day list. That's my most basic remarketing. Now, you can build these lists up to 540 days, so a year and a half. Until someone clears that cookie from their computer, they're going to stay on your list. If they come back to your website after 3 months, they go back to the beginning of the list. Day 1, day 2, so they go back to the beginning. After 30 days, after 540 days, however long you've set the duration of that list at, they fall off the list. They're no longer in that little audience. Does that make sense? So the benefit of having a few different lists is this. Most of us have got autoresponder campaigns. Sorry, Age. Someone signs up, I want to send them an email on day 7, an email on day 14, an email on day 21, and so on and so on and so on. By having different lists, so what I mean by that is maybe I've got a 30-day list here. Maybe I've got a 60-day list and a 90-day list. So on day 1, someone lands on my website, I cookie them, and because they're on day 1, that's less than 30, less than 60, less than 90, they get added to all 3 lists. 2 weeks later, that person I don't know anything about them, I don't know an IP address, I don't know an email address, but I know that I've got X number of people on each of these lists. 2 weeks later, they're still on those lists. 31 days later, they've fallen off this list. So that list, if I didn't get anybody else coming to my website, gets 1 person smaller. Good so far? They'd still be on this list, they'd still be on this list. The funky bit inside remarketing, I can say inside Google, show ads to people on my 60-day list, but not on my 30-day list. And that's only going to show ads to those people. That's how I can change my ads over time. So let's assume you have an autoresponder sequence that goes out with 3 different offers at 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. I can say, show a remarketing ad to all of these people for the first 30 days. That's the email I sent out talking about this offer. Follow them around, stalk them with these ads for this offer. Now I'm going to send out a different offer, email number 2, show a different ad to all the people on the 60-day list, but not the 30-day list. So the ad changes on day 31 and shows for another 30 days. Do the same thing over here, grab all the people on my 90-day list, but not the people on my 60-day list, and that way I'm able to show a different ad just to those people. That makes sense? Because if you do it the normal way, you'd be showing, these are my different ads, don't you love it? These 3 would be fighting against each other. I don't want to show that ad to people on day 1. I haven't talked to them about that offer yet. I don't want to mention that yet. So if you understand, anybody not clear on how we show using these visitor durations to show different ads over time to different people.